on there. So there we go. 3, 2, and 1. Well, Mary Katie, welcome back. Mayor's Monday here at WSAU, WSAU.com. We should update people. The plant is looking much better.
Yeah, we did a little bit of pruning here. So
yes, there's been some pruning done. The plant is doing very well.
Yes, I just needed to be back with it for a while.
Yes,
I think it missed my presence when I was gone.
Indeed. While you were gone in the Middle East.
Yes.
And you know, while you were gone a couple of months ago, and from here, I mean, since you've gotten back, at least it's been obviously kind of nonstop PFAS discussion.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, several other things. That it's been an interesting last few weeks here at City Hall.
Interesting. That is the nice way of putting it.
Indeed.
Yes, very interesting. Yeah, PFAS is the top of my priority list right now, obviously. Should we just launch into it? Is that what?
Why not?
We're doing it.
Yeah, why not?
So at our last Wausau Waterworks Commission meeting, we discussed how we wanted to move forward. You know, we're working on the that pilot program where we're testing the different resins and the anion exchange unit and stuff like that. So we know that at the end of summer, when we turn on that water plant, we're going to get down to 12 parts per trillion or lower, maybe non-detect with that system. So really great. But we wanted something that is tried and true, so we moved forward as a commission to support a granular activated carbon system to be added. So that will happen. You know, it doesn't happen overnight. So we'll be doing that anion exchange. Man, it's hard to come out with the resin. You know, for several months. I mean, we're looking at the GAC system taking between 18 and 24 months to build and all of that, but it will be solid. Will get us down. Hopefully, you know, mostly to non-detect. You know, these tests change as we get better at science. So as we saw the EPA stuff, they're talking about parts per quadrillion. So we're expecting tests to change. So non-detect might be a little different in the future, but we're working on it.
But the better part about having the granular activated carbon system is if that does change in the future,
yes,
the system is going to be in a better position to handle that, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. So that takes care of not just the 2 regulated PFAS, right? There's other PFAS that it will take care of, including other kinds of, you know, compounds that we would want to take out of our water. So the science is there. It feels like we're future-proofing what we're doing with the system. It's really important. And that's what these other municipalities have said work. California, up north, they're not, you know, they're saying that it works. So we're going to go ahead.
And a lot of people, of course, interested in the cost, because the last numbers that we saw after the last meeting was you're looking at $5 million in funding from one source, $5 million from another, for a total cost of $16 million, which obviously leaves a bit of a gap that we're not going to find in the city's couch cushions anywhere. It's got to come from somewhere.
Unfortunately, I don't have anything hidden here that we can just pull from. So yeah, that's going to be a financing discussion that we have. We're this always happens when you're here. This light just goes off here. So
there we go.
Thank you very much. We just don't move enough, apparently.
I guess, yeah.
So yeah, we are working with our financial planner, the city's financial planner, to kind of look at what is the best way to fund this. So we know that we will have some sources of money, some forgivable loans, maybe some federally directed spending that we're really hoping for, crossing our fingers, and some other places to find that money. But also that money won't be here today. So we're probably gonna have to figure out how to fund that gap, and that's what we're working on right now. It probably includes some borrowing, but we're really hoping that everything we can do, we won't have to go back to the ratepayers again and ask about how do we fund this. And again, like the ARPA funding, really good that we have it. I'm hoping that, you know, we'll be able to make some really sound financial choices for the future.
Yes, so at this point, it's too early to tell what this is going to do to the rates, because there is a chance that maybe the $16 million in total does come from various sources, and we don't have to go back to the ratepayers and say, could we have another $8 a quarter or so?
Yeah, so that's the thing that we're working on with the financial planners, and we're this plant is really enthusiastic, and so we'll have more information then. But obviously, if that's the case, you know, these things, we don't get to just decide to raise rates. We have to go to the state Public Service Commission and go through that whole process. And there's, you know, public hearing and all of that. So it will be very out in the open. Everyone's going to know what's going on. If that's the case, I'm hoping that we can move forward without having to do some of this. But the timing is really kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good in some ways and then just difficult in others.
Yeah, indeed. So that's a discussion then for a few months down the road, correct?
We're hoping to have that coming up pretty quickly here. We want to make sure that we're all on the same page on the council and also the utility commission. So, I mean, I would expect it within the next month or two.
Okay.
So.
All right, we'll look forward to that. And then the next thing is for those people that may have already gone through their 80 gallons of filter pitchers for their zero water, what's the city doing there? Because I understand you've still got a few hundred on the shelf and you're not buying anything just yet.
Yep. So we still have I want to say maybe less than 400, but we have hundreds of filters left. So if people need them, they can feel free to stop by our water shop, the meter shop, and pick one up, no problem. I think we have a little bit of data we're collecting to make sure one person isn't taking a billion of them, but yep, so we still have them. We're listening to folks. If they want more, we'll order more, but we're trying to get through what we have already.
Yeah, because that was the discussion at the last go around. They said we don't know how fast people are using these. We don't know if people maybe have bought on their own already, which is something that I did right from the start.
Yeah, me too.
But so if people do need them, they can reach out to City Hall.
Yep, they can call us. We will put you through to our water department. You can stop by. I think their hours are a little bit earlier than the City Hall hours, and I know they close a little bit earlier too, but we can work something out if that doesn't work. So yeah, you should feel good about popping in and grabbing another filter.
So then as far as possibly ordering more, is that something that is still on the table?
It is on the table. We're keeping our finance team on. We're just giving them, we just get email updates all the time on this. So
sure.
Like, on the what? We're keeping them informed on how many we're going through. So yeah.
Gotcha. So then, if that's something people can reach out to City Hall about then.
Yeah, no problem.
In the near future.
Yep. And if you haven't picked up your pitcher yet, we still have a couple hundred of those. Feel free to pop by and pick up your pitcher.
Absolutely. Next thing we wanted to ask you about is the Wausau Hmong Festival is coming up here in a couple of weeks, believe it or not, how quickly things move. What are we expecting from the city of Wausau out of that?
Oh my gosh, it's going to be a wild weekend, I think. And obviously, too, because it's an election year, we're going to have all kinds of political appearances, I'm guessing. So if that's your bag, no matter what you're interested in, we'll have that there. But, we'll be participating. I'm really excited. It's one of my favorite festivals that we do, and especially because it's in my neighborhood, I can walk over and not have to park.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're expecting food, dancing. We'll have I think there's singing, obviously the sports going on, big deal. So just really excited. I know that we gave some room tax dollars because all of the hotel rooms last year were sold out like beyond Plover. So it was kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it is. And of course, when these people come into Wausau, you're also kind of hoping that they see everything that the city has to offer to maybe bring them back for another visit as well.
Oh yeah, we definitely would like people to fall in love with Wausau and feel free to move here. That's great.
Yes, indeed. And this is an event that it's still relatively new. Speaking, we're not talking about decades annual yet, so I'd still say it's relatively new.
Yeah, it's the 5th or 6th year. I mean, it is still new.
So what has this brought to the city of Wausau over the last 5 or 6 years then?
Yeah, it's interesting because we've invited folks, from the Hmong diaspora from across the nation to join us. And one of the things that they've shared with us is that actually people, the elected officials, the public, they've never seen so much engagement in their festivals in places in California and things like that. Like it's not the same way. But here we really all have pulled together because we care about this so much. We think it's a big deal. So that's really neat. And I know that people are showing up from everywhere. I mean, we had international media there last time. So it's really a good look for us. And also, it's just who we are.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Indeed. I mean, it goes back to the discussions that we had months ago about the raising of the Bennington flag at City Hall to honor the Hmong and the first year that they came here, and how many of them say, yes, it was rough there for a while, but we feel like we're in many ways able to blend in here now and become part of the community.
Yeah, we're really lucky to have a community that embraces everyone who's here. 11% of our population is Hmong. I think it's definitely a great opportunity to celebrate that.
Indeed. One more thing before we let you go. We were supposed to have an update last week. I don't think it happened regarding Riverside Park. Obviously, we had information last month, I believe, that people may have thought would have never come, which is the fact that we actually have a roadmap forward for remediating the soil in Riverside Park. This has been years in the making, obviously. I was texting people that have worked here years ago that said, hey, guess what? This finally came. I'm sure somewhere Pat Peckham was smiling as well.
You don't even have to look that hard to find Pat. I'm sure he'll tell you all about it.
Indeed. But tell us what we know right now about the soil in Riverside Park and what our path going forward is now, at least what the DNR has laid out for us.
Yeah, so we're working with the DNR, right? They've given us this information. You know, I don't know the will of the policy body yet, other than they've given the directive in the past 2-3 terms. We want this cleaned up. Like, that's what I heard. That's what I've heard the entire time I've known about Riverside Park, right? So we expect that to be taken up in the Parks Committee. I think you'll find a lot of strong support for following this plan and making sure that we're doing the things the right way, and a lot of rejoicing probably for doing the right thing in that park. Right?
Yeah, indeed, because the directive right now is, yes, we do have to dig up some of this soil, landfill it somewhere. We don't know where yet, possibly the county landfill, possibly somewhere else. That is going to be a discussion again for another time. And then replacing it with a certain amount of clean soil, and then more testing to make sure that that soil is indeed clean, correct?
Yep. You're all over this. Look at this. Yep.
I would hope so. It's my job.
Good work. Yeah, no, that's exactly what we're talking about. And you know, it's expensive to haul and all this stuff, but it's the right thing to do, right? So I'm glad that we have the plan. I'm glad that we have overwhelming support. I'm assuming, again, they'll talk about this in Parks and at the General Council as well, but I don't see a lot of people saying, no, we shouldn't do this.
Yeah, and especially in the fact that this is still early in the discussion too. We don't know how it's going to get paid for yet either, and what kind of money the city might be able to access to help out, right?
Yeah, and you know, we do have different kind of pots for environmental remediation, but again, that's a council discussion. They get to decide. You know, we've used some of the Holtz-Krause funding for some environmental cleanup, and that seemed to work well. We have some ideas for other things too, though.
Yeah, and for you to see this now come to fruition and maybe to the point where we are seeing the goal line ahead.
It'll be nice to just put this one and everyone will feel confident visiting this park, doing the right thing. Yes, it's time to move on from this and focus on some other things too.
Indeed, and you know, in the event though that we do get to remediate and are we going to have some sort of groundbreaking? Are we going to have Pat Peckham out there with a shovel making the first cut into the soil? Maybe Tom Killian in there as well. Why not?
Yeah, right? Why not? I think we all deserve a little bit of a congratulations. I was talking to John Robinson about how he felt when the Holtz-Krause landfill was finally taken care of. And he's like, you know, sometimes 20 years, it goes short. And I'm like, I don't want to wait 20 years.
So this is a discussion we can expect then at future Parks and Rec meetings and finance, correct?
That's where I expect it to land.
Sure.
And obviously financing will happen in finance, so everyone will have their kick at the can. I'm assuming that there's going to be support for this, since there has been for the last 3 terms.
Indeed. Well, we always appreciate the time, Mary Katie.
Yeah, you didn't even ask about goats.
That's right. That's right. Goats. There was something else I was forgetting. Well, since you brought it up,
I might as well. Yeah, goats. Since this is Mayor's Monday,
yes.
Welcome to Goat Monday. We're expecting them to arrive. They're putting up the fence on Barker Stewart Island, and we're expecting, you know, several dozen goats to join us for the next few weeks.
What are the chances that we are going to have some sort of city meeting then surrounded by goats, just because the mayor wants to get out and hang out with the goats for a while?
I might suggest that a resident has asked us if we would have a meeting at a park surrounded by goats. You know, so okay. I just heard it from you. So
okay.
As long as that's cool, yeah.
Yeah, and again, you also want it to be educational too, so there's going to be another Go-to-Palooza in the 400
I'm hoping
block,
so.
correct?
Parks Department is very enthusiastic about this. We had a really good turnout last time, and man, the public loved those goats. So, I mean, how can you not?
That's true.
And they did a good job for us. They ate a lot of that buckthorn and honeysuckle, and now we're just discovering what else they can eat. We had a good presentation on some invasives around here, so important to take care of those before they choke out our native habitat.
Yeah, indeed. And is it too soon to tell yet just exactly how much the city saves maybe over renting these goats instead of buying chemicals and applying
that's
them
a good
over and over?
question. I know that it really was surprisingly inexpensive to rent the goats. And using goats instead of chemicals is also a reward of not having to use chemicals, because we're right by the river there. So, I mean, there's a little bit of ROI, I would say, there. We don't need to be putting chemicals in our water that don't belong there. So,
As we've found, yes.
Yeah, oh my goodness. I don't even want to think about that.
Yes.
So it's worth it. It's worth it for us.
Maybe next time we'll have to run the numbers.
Yeah,
on that.
I'll ask Jamie how much.
We'll come back with some raw numbers, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and also if you're using hand pulling technique, I mean that is a lot of human labor. You can ask the folks at Monk Garden how they worked that one out. It was nuts.
Don't worry, you don't have to tell me. I've walked many a bean field in my day. So
yeah.
we appreciate the time. We look forward to chatting again next month.
See you later.